Good evening. Welcome to the Lewiston City Council meeting of Monday, April 13th, 2015. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in saying the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item, or our next item of business is citizen comments. It's an opportunity for citizens to address the council on agenda items or other items they wish to bring to the attention of council. Citizens are encouraged to discuss operational issues in advance with the city manager, and in considerations of others wishing to speak, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. If anybody's here for the public hearing, I would appreciate if they waited till the public hearing, but other than that, if we have any citizen comments, this is the time and place. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our public hearings and presentations. And our first item of business is a proclamation for National Bicycle Month. This proclamation, whereas the bicycle is a viable and environmentally sound form of transportation and an excellent form of recreation, and thousands of Idahoans will experience the joys of bicycling during the month of May through educational programs, races, commuting events, trail work days, helmet promotion, charity events, or just getting out and going for a ride. And the Clearwater and Snake River National Recreation Trail attacks hundreds of bicyclists each year, providing economic, health, and scenic benefits to the citizens of Lewiston. And these bicycling activities and attractions have great potential to have a positive impact on Lewiston's economy and tourism industry, and to stimulate economic development by making the city attractive to businesses and citizens who enjoy the outdoors and healthy lifestyles. And creating bicycle-friendly communities has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, to boost community spirit, to improve traffic safety, and to reduce pollution and congestion. May has been declared National Bicycle Month for each of the last 60 years and is so again in 2015. And the League of American Bicyclists, the Lewis Clark Bicycling Alliance, LCBA, bicycle clubs, schools, parks, and recreation departments, police departments, hospitals, companies, and civic groups throughout Lewiston are encouraged to promote bicycling as a leisure activity as well as an environmentally friendly alternative to the automobile during the month of May 2015. And the education of bicyclists and motorists as to the proper and safe operation of bicycles is important to ensure the safety and comfort of all users. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Lewiston does hereby recognize the month of May 2015 as National Bicycle Month in the City of Lewiston, and urges all who support bicycling to participate in the events planned and all road users to share the roads safely with bicyclists. We have Mr. Vern Owen from the LCBA. Vern, would you like to come down and accept this proclamation? Perhaps say a few words?
Thank you. Prepared remarks. Thought you'd do your thing.
Oh, thanks, Vern. We appreciate it. I guess just as a sidebar, as a former bicycle shop owner and one of the original board members of the Lewis Clark Bicycling Club, I'm happy to see somebody take up the torch to promote the advocacy and the transportation plan that's going to be coming down for safe routes for bicycles. So, thank you. Next up, this is a proclamation for the LC Valley Music Teacher Appreciation Day. This proclamation is whereas William Ravelli, a highly decorated band director and music educator, wrote in 1937, perhaps one of the greatest weaknesses of our school band program is that, for the majority of students, active participation ceases upon the day of graduation from our high schools. And not only are past Lewiston High School band students significant in number, Many of these musicians have performed or are performing today around the globe, and those that continue to perform are plenty in number, and all credit the compelling inspiration instilled by their teachers. And we call special attention to the living patriarch of the music education programs in Lewiston schools, Mr. Eddie Williams. Inducted into the Idaho Music Educators Hall of Fame, his bands were well-traveled and received numerous awards. And Eddie inspired and counseled many area band directors. He is an energetic, focused man that successfully instilled a similar passion in his students, several of which will convene to perform a benefit concert at LHS on May 9th, 2015, in support of the director of bands at LHS, Brendan Burns, and his current effort to fund a band trip to Disneyland. And with this historical foundation in mind, it is important to publicly recognize all area band teachers, band directors, assistants, and support staff. These dedicated professionals should receive special recognition for their personal contributions of time, talent, education, and experience. With anticipation, they might find extra motivation as they face a myriad of daily challenges. Now, therefore, in honor of those teaching professionals, past, present, and future, the City Council of the City of Lewiston does hereby establish May 9th, for now and in perpetuity, as LC Valley Music Teacher Appreciation Day in the City of Lewiston. We encourage current and former students to reciprocate with hope that they too inspire a dedicated cadre of music educators for the enrichment they bring to the lives of students and to the community for now and forever. The lessons in the band room go well beyond the stage. We have Mr. Lynn Cook. And Doug, you want to come down too? Doug McIntosh declines. That's all right. Lynn?
Yes.
Thank you. You have a couple words you want to say?
I do. It's about bicycling. Oh, he left. Mayor Kleberg and the council, thank you so much for your leadership. I hope this was a fun thing for the council to do. It's a fun thing for us. I spent an hour with Eddie today. He turned 90 years old in February, and he just can hardly wait for May 9th. He knows nothing about this, so we intend to make this public at the May 9 event. If we haven't done so here, I don't know if the papers here will spoil the surprise, but oh, it's on TV too. All right. You get my good side. We have convened a number of LHS graduates from the years 1967 through about 2011, I think. It was not a hard thing to do. It was, everything fell into place. People are traveling from, mostly from the Northwest. I think we have one coming from Florida that particular day. And these are all people who have been inspired by Eddie, by Don Williams, by J. Ross Woods, by Ron Washburn, and several of these folks are indeed music teachers, a couple of which are actually about ready to retire. And so in honor of Eddie's years of service and to those students who went on to become music teachers themselves, we are grateful for this opportunity to recognize them and all the music teachers in the Lewis-Clark Valley for what you said here, the patience. I went to class this morning, and it's encouraging. It was I hadn't been in that band room for 40 years, and I was reminded about the behavior of students, and I know Brendan has his hands full with these with the current crop. We intend to use this as a foundation to continue events of the booster nature. and let this crop of teachers know that they have support in the public, and trying to think of ways that we can amplify our ability to support. So thanks again, and we'll look for you at the concert.
You bet.
And all of you. Thank you again.
Thanks, Lynn. Actually, the first time I met Lynn was last year at the Civic Theater, and they asked me to come and say a few kind words, and I got to meet Elvis, so I got that going for me. At this time, I guess I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda. I'm sorry I didn't do this before. Michelle Peters is not going to be attending tonight for the presentation and visit Lewis Clark Valley, but we do have a proclamation for Arbor Day, so.
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Okay, this is proclamation for Arbor Day, whereas in 1872, Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, the Lewiston City Council does hereby proclaim April 24th, 2015 as Arbor Day, and urges all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. We have our city forester here, Riley Stark.
Good evening, esteemed individuals of the Lewiston City Council. I would like to start by expressing my appreciation for the Council's continued support of the Lewiston Urban Forestry Program through the Parks and Recreation Department. With generous city sponsorship, we have been able to plant more than 200 trees in our parks and along our city streets. These trees will provide our city with shade, wildlife habitat, aesthetic beauty, and clean air for generations to come. Without this support, Lewiston would not be celebrating its 27th annual year as a Tree City USA with the Arbor Day Foundation. It pleases me to report that Lewiston was successful in its bid to obtain a growth award from the Arbor Day Foundation. Lewiston has more growth awards than any other city in the state of Idaho, which is a point of pride for our community. Hopefully this will be the first of many growth awards in our city's history under my tenure. I also am pleased to report that this year I've been awarded a grant from the Idaho Nursery and Landscape Association to fund, in part, our Arbor Day festivities. Lewiston's Urban Forestry Program will be observing this year's Arbor Day event with a variety of celebrations, including a booth at this Thursday's Earth Day celebration downtown. We will also be planting almost 50 trees in our city parks, 30 more in the Arboretum here at Lewis Clark State College, and with an educational tree walk at noon on Wednesday the 29th. I will also be conducting at least one demonstration for students in attendance at Lewiston Public Schools. And perhaps most notably, Joyce Jowdy, the Community Forestry Coordinator with the Idaho Department of Lands, will be joining us on Arbor Day, Friday, April 24th at 10 a.m. at the Lewiston Community Center to help us plant a tree and present us with our Growth Award. I hope you will all be able to join us as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Riley. Okay, our next item of business, we have a public hearing. This is VA 01-2015. The applicant is David Howell. There's a request for the vacation of a portion of 8th Street located between the north line of D Street and the south line of the railroad right-of-way, said portion of 8th Street being approximately 200 feet in length. The petitioner is requesting this vacation to allow him more room to expand his business facilities. Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. City Surveyor Dan Hayhurst is here this evening, and he will present the staff report and discuss the findings with respect to this application.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. As always, it's an honor to be up here. Tonight, like the Mayor said, I have a vacation request from David Howell for a section, a dead-end portion of 8th Street. The portion of 8th Street that is going to be vacated, or is proposed to be vacated, is located between the north line of D Street and the south line of the railroad right-of-way. Said portion being approximately 200 feet, as the Mayor said. Mr. Howell owns all the property along the east and west sides of this portion of 8th Street, except for a small parcel owned by Thomas Boyer at the northwest corner of the intersection of D and 8th Street. To help everybody get oriented, I've got some aerial images and some photos I would like to show at this time.
So, Mr. Hayers,
Yes.
southwest corner. Where?
It's at the northwest corner of D Street and 8th Street. So southwest would put you down across where Follett's is, I believe. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
If you're standing in the center of D Street, you'd be on the northwest corner of Dr. Boyer's, for Dr. Boyer's property,
Okay.
right? Okay. Yeah, I can show you, yeah. What I meant to say there, and maybe I said it very awkwardly, but if you're standing in the center of the intersection here at 8th and D Street, Dr. Boyer owns this little piece right here with his building on it. So
Okay.
that would be northwest. This just gives you the general vicinity. You can see that D Street runs through here. Here's the railroad right-of-way, set of main tracks that come through. There's the levee ponds, the levee bypass road over here. And the section of 8th Street we're talking about is just this little area marked in the red outline there. Here's an image where that same area is blown up a little bit. Again, the area proposed to be vacated is this entire area here. Mr. Howell owns this parcel, these buildings, this one here. He also owns this area over here, which is the old skateboard park area. Helps to locate you a little bit better. And again, Dr. Boyer's property is right on this corner. Basically, his building covers his entire parcel. The pink on here actually is where we're proposing to reserve public utility easements and access easements, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Here's an actual photo of the area. I'm standing on the south side of D Street looking north. So you've got D Street right here and then 8th Street extended. Of course, you can see the railroad. You can see the railroad cars there. Again, this is Dr. Boyer's building on this side. These are some of Mr. Howell's buildings. I'll be speaking a little bit later about a extension of a building that he would like to do right away, expansion of a building, and that's this one that's kind of back behind the bush. But he's talking about extending that toward the west about 30 feet, so that would be coming out this direction and be out about where these cars are located. Okay, I'm standing on the railroad tracks, safely looking both ways, but I'm looking south, basically looking opposite from the way I was before there. So you've got the railroad tracks, you've got D Street right here, the stop sign you can see. If you can see that little stop sign, that's D Street. Again, Dr. Boyer's building in his property. You can see there's kind of a white stripe barely seen in the center. That's about the center line of the road. You can see right in here that there is a sanitary manhole, a sanitary sewer manhole. There are some utilities. Again, I'll talk about those in a little bit. Along the west side of the right-of-way, there's actually a fairly high retaining wall there. It's kind of hidden in the other photos, but I thought I would show you here. The actual right-of-way would fall down along the base of that. So this is all in the current right-of-way. You can see utility poles, this one, and then a smaller one down here. Evidence of more of utilities there. This is basically at the other end. This is at the south end of that retaining wall looking north. You can see the power pole here, utility pole, that has power that comes down and goes into a pump station for the public stormwater that collects down in this basin down here. And you can see an indication over here of some more utilities. That's a vault over here. So we'll get on into the narrative. This portion of 8th Street was created in 1886 by the Swanson Addition plat. 8th Street was known then as Swanson Street. The portion of 8th Street north of the railroad right-of-way was vacated by City Ordinance 3485 in 1979. So everything north of the railroad has been vacated already. The zoning in the area surrounding the requested vacation area is C4, commercial. Conditional use permits allowing light industrial use were approved in both 2007 and 2009 for adjacent parcels owned by Mr. Howell. The area is located along the eastern edge of the downtown sub-area of the Lewiston waterfront plan. The eastern extreme of that plan area is where this is. Mr. Howell requested a vacation for this same portion of 8th Street in 2012, and his request was denied by council. City staff recommended denial at that time, due mostly to the possibility of the right-of-way being needed as a stormwater pipeline route and some emergency access issues that the fire department had. These two issues have been addressed by the current vacation request. In compliance with the current Lewiston vacation ordinance, Mr. Howell has submitted the necessary applications, has submitted a consent letter from the one other adjacent landowner, and paid the vacation petition fees. City staff has solicited comments from utility providers and other departments and agencies, set and advertised a public hearing for the vacation, provided notice of the public hearing by certified mail to all landowners within 300 feet of the requested vacation area, and posted the requested vacation area with a public hearing notice sign. The city has no current or future plans to improve this section of 8th Street. The northern 150 feet of the requested vacation area is currently used for access to Mr. Howell's business and parking for his employees. The west side of the southern 40 feet is used by Dr. Boyer for employee parking and access to his commercial waste bin. The requested vacation area is underlain by a public sanitary sewer main, a public water main, and some public stormwater system pipes. Avista has gas lines and overhead electrical lines in the area, as you could see in our images. An analysis of the downtown stormwater system is complete, and it has been determined that the 8th Street right-of-way will not be required for a future stormwater conveyance route. In response to the request for comments, the following specific comments were received. Avista Corporation. Avista needs an easement reserved for the existing gas lines and the power pole located just north of Dr. Boyer's building. Now, Avista, I met on site with Avista. We went through this, and Avista is satisfied that what we're proposing tonight, the reservation area, will satisfy their needs. Fire Department. The Fire Department can work within the operational confines presented in this right-of-way vacation proposal, provided the following items are required as conditions of that approval. This is directly from the Fire Department, so I'm just reading their comment directly. This This portion of 8th Street was taken into consideration when the permit was approved for the building at 815.5 D Street for hose reach and access. That was that building toward the back on the right-hand side or east side that I was pointing out that would be extended. Any additions to existing buildings will alter the fire department's hose reach and access. This may require mitigation prior to permits being issued with fire sprinklers, building construction size and type of building, and/or location on the property. The proposed 20-foot wide access to remain will be required to be posted as a fire access road, as outlined in Lewiston Fire Department SOP 901, including but not limited to fire access road signs, fire access road do not block signs, end of fire access road signs, as well as no parking signs as required to allow for LPD enforcement and citation writing. The full 20-foot width and length to the end must remain clear of vehicles and/or storage at all times to provide for emergency access. Dependent on future development, 20 feet may not meet minimum code requirements. This may also require mitigation with fire sprinklers, building construction, size and type of building, and/or location on the property. While the fire department cannot anticipate every possible use of the ensuing reconfigured properties created by this right-of-way vacation, the applicant is hereby made aware that fire department access must be maintained for existing structures and designed into future structures affected by this vacation as required by the fire code. The city water and wastewater managers and the city surveyor commented that they all support the vacation but require adequate easement for utility lines. Sunshine Disposal, solid waste, said that they need to maintain access to service Dr. Boyer's waste bed, his dumpster back there. All the other utility providers and other departments and agencies that were contacted had no comment, no objection, or did not respond to the request for comments. If the requested vacation is approved, the landowners adjacent to the vacated right-of-way will take possession of the vacated land as specified by the council decision. Both Idaho State Code Section 5311 and the Lewiston Vacation Ordinance state, whenever any street, avenue, alley, or lane shall be vacated, the same shall revert to the owner of the adjacent real estate, one half on each side thereof, or as the city council deems in the best interest of the adjoining properties. The proposed division of the vacated property would give Mr. Howell all of the vacated area except for the half width of 8th Street adjacent to Dr. Boyer's parcel. City staff has verified that both parties desire to have the vacated area divided in this manner. Let me show, to make that clear, I'll show one more image. I met with Dr. Boyer on site to make sure that this was okay with him last week, and he supports the vacation and did support this division of the property. As you can see, again, here's 8th Street. But this yellow line running up in the middle is roughly the center line of the street. And so Mr. Howell will get all of this except for this portion, which is actually a 90-degree angle here off of Dr. Boyer's property corner, out to the center line of 8th Street, then down to the north line of D Street and then around like this. So this will be Dr. Boyer's property if council sees fit to divide it as proposed. The requested vacation area is approximately 0.25 acres with a land value of $43,290 based on the average of Nez Perce County assessment values of adjacent parcels owned by the applicant. Recommendations. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the requested right-of-way vacation with the condition that the resolution implementing this vacation will not be approved by council until all of the following items are addressed. Number one, as allowed by state statutes and the city vacation ordinance, the allocation of the vacated right-of-way will be made as follows. Mr. Howell will receive approximately 10,600 square feet, and Dr. Boyer will receive approximately 1,100 square feet. Number two, a public utility and access easement will be reserved over the full right-of-way width of the south 55 feet of the requested vacation area and over the center 20 feet of the right-of-way from the north right-of-way line of D Street to the south line of the railroad right-of-way. Okay, let me try to say that a little bit better. On the images that we looked at, the power pole that I noted that had the electrical box on it, that's about the line, the north line of where the entire right-of-way would be an easement. From just past that, by about 5 feet past that pole, it would narrow down to the 20 feet public utility easement and access easement that would extend all the way to the railroad right-of-way line.
That's that one.
Yes, exactly. Number 3, all of the conditions of approval listed in fire department comments are implemented and approved by the fire department. And I wanted to say that the fire department will work with Mr. Howell during the proposed building expansion to ensure that the adequate signage and emergency access is maintained while allowing Mr. Howell to go ahead with that building expansion as soon as possible if the vacation request is approved. A driveway-style approach will be installed along the south boundary of the requested vacation area that redirects the stormwater flow. The plans for this approach must be approved by the city engineer and the construction completed and inspected by a public works inspector. Now, issuance of the building permit for that proposed building expansion will not be delayed if Mr. Howell will provide a financial surety or bond for the driveway approach. Sean Stubers and representatives from Mr. Howell's office are working on that right now. They have no objection to this, to the driveway style approach. But the details need to work out in that surety or bond given before the building can be approved or the building permit can be approved. The amount of the financial surety or bond must be approved by the city engineer. That will make this look very similar to what it looks like at LCSC, where they did their parking lot expansion, and also more recently at the hospital, where they worked on that street, vacated 5th Avenue. They put in a driveway style approach at the end, so it does redirect stormwater and make that more manageable, and also gives people the impression that it's not a public street anymore, which I think is really important. And lastly, there's a section of safety rating along the east side of 7th Street from the north right-of-way line of D Street to the north end of 7th Street, the 7th Street right-of-way. That will need to be installed. That's something that's been in the works for a long time, and it's not directly related to this vacation, but it was an opportunity to get this accomplished. The design for that railing or fence must be approved by the city engineer and the construction completed and inspected by a public works inspector before the resolution to implement this vacation would be done. It's not intended that hold up the building expansion either. Mr. Howell is proceeding in good faith with the fabrication and installation of the railing. Issuance of a building permit for the proposed building expansion is not dependent on the completion of this railing. That's all I have for council as far as staff report goes. Be open for questions.
Have any questions for Mr. Hayhurst? Thanks for now, Dan. Is the applicant here? Would you like to say something?
Sure. My name's Buzz McLennan. I'm a representative for Dave Howell. He was unable to be here today. The vacation of that street, like he had said earlier, a lot of confusion with public traffic trying to come down that street, and it's a dead end and it goes nowhere. It kind of leads people astray. But the vacation of that street is going to be a benefit to our company in the sense that we'll be able to do this addition on the building that we need, and we have equipment that we can put into that building, and then we'll be able to create 12 to 24 more jobs down there at that site. That advantage of that additional workforce down there, and then we will be able to take our dollars and clean up 8th Street, clean up the street, and do the sidewalk and curb work across the front of it that needs to be done. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and open this public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this request? Going once? Okay, well, seeing none, I guess we'll go ahead and close this public hearing, and then we'll decide. Mr. Ayers, is there anything else you have to add, or? So if we're to vote on this, you're asking us to vote to approve this with the conditions that are in place?
Yes.
Okay? Any other questions?
Just one.
Certainly.
Mr. Davies, with the construction going on, coming up, that's eventually going to work its way down D Street and in front of Holland Machinery, this construction will have no effect on this vacation or any curb work, sidewalk work that was brought up? I guess so.
Councilor Mayor, actually, this won't, this fiscal year, they are not going down that far to that intersection. In 2016, there is a possibility, depending on funding and what prices come in, that we could. So we could take that money that's actually, if Mr. Howell decides to postpone it and put a surety, we could take that money, put that in at that time. So it'd be better to do it together in 2016.
Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
So that would be for the driveway approach on 8th?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, well, I guess I'd entertain a motion to approve the vacation request with the conditions listed by staff.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, everybody. Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion, well, at this time, do we have any items that council wishes to remove from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Council Randall.
I would like item I, which concerns ordinance 4628, first reading, and item J, which concerns ordinance 4629, first reading, to be moved to the active agenda.
Okay. So item I will become active agenda E, and J will become active agenda F. Any others? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask the city attorney if we have to move the sewer cleaning trucks and the bid for the liquid asphalt, if we need to do a roll call vote on that.
We were going to recommend discussing that at the next work session.
Okay.
So I think we can go ahead if you want to keep it on the consent agenda tonight. It's probably fine, and then we could discuss at the next work session what we need to do by roll call.
Thank you.
Clear on that? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Approving the City Council minutes of the March 9th regular meeting and the March 23rd, 2015 regular meeting. Accepting the minutes of the March 17th, 2015 Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board. Approving Resolution 2015-4 by title only. A resolution accepting and approving a dedication of right-of-way from LOA Properties LLC to the City of Lewiston and providing an effective date. Approving Resolution 2015-22 by title only. A resolution implementing the decision of the City Council of the City of Lewiston, Idaho in VA 03-2014, vacating a portion of Lewiston Vineyards Tract Number 1 and providing an effective date. Approving Resolution 2015-23 by title only. A resolution implementing the decision of the City Council of the City of Lewiston, Idaho, excuse me, in VA 07-2014, vacating portions of 27th Avenue and Short Street and providing an effective date. Approving Resolution 2015-24 by title only. A resolution implementing the decision of the City Council of the City of Lewiston, Idaho in VA 07-2014, vacating portions of 27th Avenue and Short Street and providing an effective date. Resolution 2015-25 by title only. A resolution implementing the decision of the City Council of the City of Lewiston in VA 07-2014, vacating portions of 27th Avenue and Short Street and providing an effective date. Accepting the price proposal of Western Systems of Spokane, Washington for 2 sewer cleaning trucks in the amount of $577,540 as per HCAC contract. Accepting the bid proposal for liquid asphalt from Idaho Asphalt Supply of Hauser, Idaho in the amount of $718 per ton for MC 800, and the bid proposal of Herco Incorporated of Lewiston, Idaho in the amount of $595 per ton for Quick Seal 50. And approving the vouchers payable dated March 13th through March 26, 2015 in the amount of $1,109,536.06.
Okay, councilors, the amended consent agenda has been read. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, we'll move on to the active agenda. And this will be bid award and rejection. City vehicles. Awarding the city vehicles proposal for the SUV for Fire Department Joe Hall Ford, Lewiston, Idaho, in the amount of $29,674. Rejecting the bid for the police patrol SUVs. Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As indicated in the staff report on this issue, there are 2 separate issues involved that you're being asked to consider. One is to approve the bid for the fire department SUV, and the second is to reject the bids for the police patrol SUVs because they did not meet the standards required for those vehicles. And the subsequent item will address that. So that's what you're being asked to do under this particular item right now.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Bennett? I guess I'd entertain a motion to accept the bid award.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? This was budgeted, we actually had this budgeted last year or this year?
It is currently budgeted in this year's budget for the SUV, and
Okay.
the other amount was also budgeted for the police vehicles in this current year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all those in favor of the bid award, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next item is item B, purchase of 2 police patrol SUVs via state contract, authorizing the purchase of 2 police patrol Tahoes from Edmark, Napa, Idaho, in the amount of $64,246.46 by piggybacking the state of Idaho vehicle contract. Mr. Bennett.
Basically speaks for itself, Mayor. I mean, that's the reason for the rejection of the previous item on the police vehicles. This bid under the state contract provides the city with the kind of vehicles that we need to buy for our police fleet, and you're being asked to allow us to use the state contract to purchase those. Again, budgeted for in this current fiscal year.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Bennett?
I do.
Certainly. Councilor Blakey.
Mr. Bennett, educate me. When we advertise for bids, and probably I should know this and I don't, I noticed that somewhere in there I said local. Are we required to only advertise locally for a bid, or does it go into any regional pool? I mean, we get Kendall and we get Joe Hall bidding on it, but does anybody from Spokane get a look at these bids or would know about them unless they subscribe to the newspaper?
We solicit other areas for bids, but generally the only bids that we receive are from our local dealerships in the area, which would be Kendall or Joe Hall or perhaps one of the other dealerships, depending on the nature of the vehicle. So because of the distance involved, probably, we go with the local bids normally, but in this particular case, we couldn't find the vehicles in this area that we needed.
But
there's no requirement that the city only consider any particular area for soliciting bids.
And I'm not anti-local, that's not my intention here, it's just to get the best price. So how would a dealership in Spokane know about this? That we were soliciting bids?
Because we advertise.
And that's through what medium?
Through the newspaper and through online. We have the bids posted. Do we specifically outreach to specific areas with media markets? No. But in today's world, because of the instant access to internet and to other media like that, the word gets out very quickly. We just don't normally get any responses.
Okay.
Councilor Collins.
Just hopefully a quick question. With a bid like this, with a product like a vehicle out of Nampa, Boise, Treasure Valley area, and I'm sure it's probably in the bid, are they required to bring it to us? Do we send somebody down there? Does it cost us to go retrieve the vehicle, or is that just part of the bid that it's due on this day at this time?
Well, I haven't reviewed this one particularly for that. I don't think it addresses specifically whether or not that happens. Let me ask Chief Lanier.
These vehicles are bid delivered.
So it's FOB Lewiston.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Further questions? Okay, so where are we at? Do we have a motion to approve? I'll entertain a motion to approve purchase of 2 police patrol SUVs via the state contract.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Okay, next up, vouchers payable to Albertsons from March 13, 15 through March 26, 15 in the amount of $157.22. Entertain a motion to approve vouchers payable to Albertsons with Councilor Daniel abstaining.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0 to 1. I'll turn this over to Mayor Pro Tem Johnson for item D.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next item on the agenda is vouchers payable for early bird supply from March 13, 15 through March 26, 15 in the amount of $301.42. I'll entertain a motion to approve vouchers payable to early bird supply.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0 to 1. I'll hand the meeting back over to Mayor Klebert.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Okay, next up will be item E, and this is ordinance 4628 for the first reading. This is amending Chapter 4 of the Lewiston City Code entitled Air Pollution, Sections 4-1, 4-3, 4-4, and 4-11, providing for certain open and outside burning within the city limits, providing responsibility for air quality alerts, prohibiting certain open burning, providing for definitions. I'll entertain a motion to read for the first time ordinance 4628.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Do we have discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Council Randall.
My intent for moving that was not necessarily to stimulate any discussion. However, you can do that if you want, but I just didn't feel it was appropriate to have an ordinance done under the consent agenda, that it should be underneath our active agenda,
Okay.
so people can discuss it.
Well, I know we've all had a chance to read this. We've talked about this at work sessions. We had the fire chief down there trying to clean up some language on what constitutes a cooking fire or not. Just because you have a pack of hot dogs doesn't necessarily constitute a cooking fire. And I think we've done a decent job of trying to rein in some of the open burning, but and that's fine. I appreciate that, and perhaps for the next second reading, we'll do the same. Further discussion? All those in favor of reading for the first time, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Do we have to read the first time, Carrie?
Approving the first reading of ordinance 4628 by title only. An ordinance of the City of Lewiston amending Chapter 4 of the Lewiston City Code entitled Air Pollution, Sections 4-1, 4-3, 4-4, and 4-11, providing for certain open and outside burning within the city limits, providing responsibility for air quality alerts, prohibiting certain open burning, providing for definitions, and providing an effective date.
Okay. Moving on to item F, ordinance 4629, first reading. This is implementing the city council's decision in ZNC 14-00001, declaring that certain real property be removed from the R3 medium density residential zone and included in the C4 general commercial zone. Entertain a motion to read ordinance 4629 for the first time.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor.
Council Randall.
Again, I just felt that it wasn't appropriate to have it on the consent agenda, and really have no discussion.
That's fine. Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of reading ordinance 4629 for the first time, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 6-0.
Approving the first reading of ordinance 4629 by title only. An ordinance implementing the city council's decision in ZNC 14-00001, declaring that certain real property be removed from the medium-density residential zone, R3, and included in the general commercial zone, C4, amending the official zoning map of the city of Lewiston and providing an effective date.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. That concludes our active agenda. On to new, unfinished and new business. City councilor comments. Do you have any councilor comments this evening?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Randall.
On these ordinances that we did on the first reading, I would like to request the city attorney do some research to find out if which way would be the most appropriate way for an ordinance, whether it should be under consent agenda or active agenda, so that we're clear on that, and bring it up at our next work section or something like that. And this week, I will be spending at least 2 days for the Idaho Economic Development Association at Red Lion. You're going to have some really good speakers, and so I'll be involved in that for most of the next 2 days.
Other council comments? Councilor Blakey.
Just two things. If we had anything to do with it, I thank whoever had to do with it, what department or what entity. Looks like the weeds around the traffic circle is under control. Looks like they've been sprayed and dying. So thank you very much. It's kind of my pet project, keep the traffic circle looking pretty. Second of all, we do have a URA meeting tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Topic of discussion will be 18th Street construction. So if you're available at 12 o'clock, please attend. If not, watch it on live streaming on our internet website.
Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Also, as I was coming down to council meeting, there was a young lady starting to pick up trash at the top of Bryden Canyon Road, so maybe someday we'll get that picked up.
I think Mr. Bennett might have a comment during city manager comments pertaining to Bryden. Any other councilor comments? I just want to remind everybody, if they haven't heard yet, I'm sure we'll have a little notice in the paper, but we're going to be having a police chief applicant open house at the Red Lion on April 20th, 5:30 till whenever. And so I'd encourage the public to come down and meet our potential candidates. I know we have one sitting here, Acting Chief Lanier, and hopefully have some good interaction with these people before they start the interview process. So other than that, I don't have anything. Anybody else? City manager comments.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Bennett.
Mayor. A few things. Reiterating, let's see, on Wednesday afternoon, we will be having a retirement ceremony for Dave Six at the Community Development Building. The Library Gala will be this weekend at the Lewis Clark Hotel on Saturday night. And of course, we are beginning the Dogwood Festival events now. You heard us talking about Earth Day coming up this week later on down on Capitol. And there will be a number of events between now and a week and a half or so from now with the Dogwood Festival, the Arts Under the Elms, the Seaport River Run, the Show and Shine. All those events will be coming up over the next 10 days or so. And referring to Councilor Randall's comments, the city will be conducting a cleanup of the litter on Bryden Avenue from Snake River Avenue up to the airport on both of the on-ramps off of 8th Avenue on Wednesday. So that will be an issue we will want to discuss at some point as to how we want to do that in the future, frequency, cost, where we would like to budget for, if we'd like to do this on a regular basis, because certainly there are other streets in the city that are in somewhat the same boat, generally that heavily traveled, don't have a lot of curb and gutter, a lot of ditches and things like that, where it's convenient to throw trash. So we can talk about that also at an upcoming work session. Lastly, we will have an executive session at our next council meeting. The city attorney has requested that to discuss with the council records that are exempt from public review. So that's all I have.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Randall?
Could I also request that maybe we treat this litter pickup as similar to road construction and maybe get a notice put in the paper that people will be working on that road, picking up litter, and please be careful.
Public notice?
Yeah.
We have notified the Public Works Department. They're working on a traffic plan so that we'll have one lane closed at a time so that we can prioritize safety for the crew that's out there and then switching off to the other side of the road so that we'll be able to keep traffic flow going, but at the same time allow the workers to be safe while they're out there doing the cleanup.
Well, and I follow up what Councilor Randall's saying, maybe we should have like a little press release or something that would
Sure.
perhaps in the
Just
paper.
remind the public that they'll be
Yeah.
out there on that road.
We can do that.
No, that makes sense. And before we move on, just real quick, yes, everybody's invited to the Earth Day celebration. It is a Chamber of Commerce event. It's sponsored by Lewis Clark Recyclers, and they always have a lot of stuff for the kids. We have Idaho Women in Timber handing out trees. We've got Mark Armstrong showing their facility down there. And there'll be live music. Hopefully it won't be raining like it was last year, because it was rather wet. But we'll see what happens, but hopefully we'll see everybody down there. On to advisory board and commission appointments. Do we have any this evening?
Mr. Mayor,
Pro Tem.
last Friday, the subcommittee, or the panel met to interview candidate John Jindem for the Transportation Advisory Commission opening, and we've agreed to go ahead and refer him for appointment, so I'd move that we approve him to the TAC.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of John Jindem to the TAC, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have one, wasn't able to get the committee together, but Bill Marug has applied to our Urban Forestry and Cemetery Commission. He's also on the board for the LC campus for their Arboretum. And he's expressed an interest in being part of the Urban Forestry and Cemetery Commission. I did invite him to the last Urban Forestry meeting, and we didn't grill him, but seems to fit in, so I would entertain a motion to appoint Bill to the Urban Forestry and Cemetery Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion stands.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor
we
Randall.
still have 2 openings on the Solid Waste Committee.
So if everybody didn't hear that, 2 openings on the Solid Waste Advisory Commission. I know that this week you're not going to have a quorum, but I did read the emails that it hasn't always been the issue, but it would be nice to have a quorum.
I
So
just
if
don't want it
anybody's-
to become an issue.
Yeah. If anybody's interested, please contact Carrie at City Hall. Any others? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, there will be another opening coming up on the Transportation Advisory Commission, as Vern Owens has given his notice to resign on June 3rd, so it'll be after June 3rd.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, work session agenda topics. Do we have any new ones? I think we have one new one from Councilor Randall about ordinances,
Yeah, ordinances, whether they should be on the consent agenda or not.
consent or active.
I think we can combine that with the issue regarding the use of the roll call vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other items? Okay, well, seeing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody.